Police Commission, present are Commissioners DeVogas, Cruther, where did Mackenzie go? Commissioner McKenzie, Wilson, and myself, Commissioner Cabrera. Absent is Commissioner Soler. Also present are Chief Mark Rofling and Fire Personnel Officer Juliet Battle of the Fire Department, Chief Alfonso Morales and Human Resources Administrator Arvis Williams of the Police Department, and our Executive Director, Lakeisha Butler. Ms. Butler, please, proceed. When we go to public comment first? Oh, please proceed with the agenda.
First item on the agenda is public comment.
For public comment, each speaker will be limited to 2 minutes. Speakers are asked to state their name for the record and direct their comments to the commissioners and no one else. Please understand that under Wisconsin open meeting laws, commissioners cannot respond to comments about matters not on the agenda, so please do not be offended by that. We are receptive to hearing comments about items on the agenda and may discuss your concerns during the meeting when the agenda item is reached. Please remember to respect the time of your fellow citizens. When the timer goes off, please wrap up your thoughts and finish your comment. If you have additional questions or concerns, I encourage you to contact the FPC office by phone or email and to check the FPC website for information. Our first comment is from Paul Mozina.
Hello. Thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate this time to speak with you, and I want to focus on one thing. I brought it up at the last meeting, and I'm talking about the Milwaukee Police Department Standard Operating Procedure 760, which was, now I don't know all the procedures, so I correct me if I'm wrong, but the current version on the website is dated November 28th or 29th. The new procedure went into effect on November 28th or 29th, excuse me. And the reason it's significant is that it's really a complete rewrite of the procedure to accommodate the risks and danger of fentanyl. It protects the police during testing. It defines what the lab should look like, who can test, when they're going to test. It's a completely it's a rewrite of the procedure, and it has legal implications. It's a material change. And as such, it should have been brought to the Fire and Police Commission for review. And again, if I'm wrong and don't understand the procedures, please correct me. And the reason it's important is because we have a fentanyl epidemic. We have an opioid crisis going on right now. And imagine a scenario where MPD got a drug, a substance, and tested it for fentanyl immediately and posted it on a website. We found this drug that's tainted and adulterated with fentanyl at this location at this time, and warn the people. There's fentanyl on the streets everywhere. So I would like to see that SOP updated to include timing, turnaround times for the testing, and an expansion of the testing to cover all of the drugs that are recovered and published to the public. What did you find in those drugs? We have an epidemic of adulterated substances. They're putting fentanyl and cocaine. They're packaging it up into pills and making it look like oxycodone. It's very dangerous out there. People don't know what they're taking. And so we need to use this opportunity with this SOP to expand our perspective on the whole testing process in conjunction with the confiscation of controlled substances. Let's have the police department share to whatever extent they can. Where did they get the substance? What is the danger to the public of this substance, rather than keeping it secret? And the SOP calls out special procedures for HIDA, and it's not clear what happens when HIDA gets involved. So I would ask you to take this procedure into the Policies and Standards Committee and spend some time on it. And let's review it a little bit more thoroughly, because it feels like it was just put into production without any review by you all. That's in evidence. It's not in the record anywhere. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next public comment is from Robin Shello.
Rhymes with Jello.
Okay.
Good afternoon, good evening, Commissioners. This is my very first Fire and Police Commission hearing, despite living in Milwaukee 60 years. I represent Paula Popp. She was terminated, or is on the consent agenda item as 3 or C. She's a crossing guard. She worked for 16 years. After coming home from deer hunting, taking a shower, and her daughter attempted to take a check from her and push her on the floor. At that point, daughter's ex-boyfriend poured more than 10 gallons of boiling water on her, which had been on the stove for 3 hours. Her husband immediately took her to the nearest hospital. Thereafter, she was taken to District 2 and chained to what I call in the body cavity stripped room outside the garage, or in the garage. She was held there for 5 hours and then held at the county for 13. My client was a victim. She was horribly burned. She received the termination notice while she was having surgery for skin grafts. I'm asking everybody to put a big stop here. There's an oops. There can be a mistake made. We didn't read the report. We didn't look at our own pictures. We made too rash a decision. The case was null prost. It's not going to be charged. And I'm asking that you reconsider the termination of Ms. Pop. And in the spirit of crossing guard, we all know, stop, think, observe, and proceed. I think it's the think that we weren't doing on this termination, okay? She's a beloved employee and has, this adds insult to injury, literally. I thank you for all of your time. I know that decisions made are not, people always don't have all the information. But she was assigned to District 2. She was incarcerated at District 2 with these horrible burns. They knew her name. This is not a difficult call. I understand people make mistakes. It's time to write this one. And we could spend a lot of time and a lot of other stuff talking about it, but it's just time to write this one. And I want to thank you and have a nice, safe holiday, and everybody check the batteries on their smoke detectors.
Thank you. Our next public comment is from Joseph Walker.
Joseph Walker, JOSEPHWALKER. I'm here to talk about unjustified police shootings, cover-up and conspiracies, especially under Chief Flynn, because I experienced it myself. And unfortunately, I survived and went through with the police and how they cover up police shootings and experienced it for myself. They even went to lengths to torture me in the county jail, to refuse me a lawyer and medical until I was done with questioning. At least that's what they told me, until I was rushed to the hospital with seizures, not once, but twice, on 2 different occasions. So now that we have a new police chief, he talks about transparency and accountability, and we all saw the Jerry Smith Jr. shooting, which was caught on body camera footage. What is the chief doing about that? Has this cop been fired? Is the chief at John Chisholm's office pushing for an investigation or a grand jury to look at it? What's really going on? So I was shot in the back in 2014 by a cop named Tanya Ball. Actually, there was 4 cops who shooting at me. It was an ambush. It was night. I was on the porch. I tried to get in my house. I had my back to the cops, and they opened fire when my back was to them, and I was trying to get in my house. I was not a threat, was not armed. There was 5 cops there. 1 testified. Or there was 4 cops shooting, and there was 5 cops who said I didn't have a firearm, or they believed, they believed I might have had one, but they didn't see one. But Tanya Ball changed her story and said that she believed I had a black gun, changed her story. So today, I brought a file I put together that she committed perjury 4 times, okay, when the trial went on. The first time she committed perjury, she said she didn't shoot me in the back, okay? She didn't shoot me in the back, and the police report said I was shot twice. I got the x-ray from Frater proving I was shot dead center to my back. Okay, so that's perjury number 1 she committed. Lighting. in the police report, when she was first questioned, she said the lighting was bad, and she couldn't, make out if she believed I had a gun. She wasn't sure, and then 9 months later in court, she said it was good lighting conditions. So she switched her story when she testified. That's perjury, and she said it was good lighting conditions, and she was sure I had a handgun, but at first she believed, she wasn't sure. Trajectory, we're gonna talk about trajectory. The bullet holes are still in the
Walker,
house.
if you could please wrap up.
Yeah, I am. Two more things. Trajectory. These are bullet holes in the house. A cop with a rifle was shooting at me, placed me on the porch. She placed me off the porch. This is very important because the trajectory proves that, it's documented where they were standing. It proves that I wasn't standing where she said I was standing. It's impossible. That's the fourth perjury. Then we got the gun lie. She said I had an all-black gun. This is the gun they recovered. And on the porch, you're not gonna say you saw a black gun. There wasn't a reenactment video, and you will see chrome flashing all the way down the block through the street light if I was holding the gun that I owned. So therefore, I wasn't holding no gun, but that's perjury again. I got a picture of the bullet hole in my back here. This is just a little file I put together that I want to give to the FPC. I'm asking for her to be fired if she's still a cop. I'm asking for her to be investigated. I'm pursuing the FBI. In 2014, it was different. There was no body camera, so this can be, this could happen. So I'm just telling you what my experience was, and I survived it, and every day I gotta live with that. And I'm still working on the case. They kept me quiet all these years, but I'm gonna keep showing evidence, proving, not just talking, proving what happened. So I don't know, you want me to wrap it up, but I got a picture too of the bullet hole in my back to somewhere here where it's clear that was not a threat. So it's in this file that I'm gonna drop at the FPC. I wanna build a file with the FPC, but I'm asking for you to fire this cop and bring her up on perjury charges. I don't know how that works. I gotta look into it. Maybe I gotta find a special prosecutor. I'm not sure. But I'm doing my own investigating, my own work, my own legal work. I'm doing everything myself right now. I'm working on getting a lawyer. I guess everything has to be done through a lawyer. So I'm working on that. But transparency and accountability, the chief says. So can we look at Tanya Bull? Can we understand why she committed perjury? Why doesn't the forensic add up? Why does nothing add up in evidence?
Okay, you can
All right.
leave those documents with us if you so choose to.
Oh yeah, could I leave them with you? Just add it to my file. This is just a rough draft. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next public comment is from Pastor James Hubner.
Thank you. Pastor Jim Hebner. I'm a pastor. I have a microphone. I don't know 2 minutes is going to work, but we'll try. I serve for the last 37 years at Grace Lutheran Church right down the road at 1209 Broadway. And I'm here to speak on behalf of John Corbett and his promotion to captain. John, I've known for 5.5 years as one of the finest men that I've had a privilege to serve as a member of my congregation. Having watched what's happened in downtown Milwaukee and having served in this community for a long, long time, I've had a chance to rub elbows with and meet a lot of different people, a lot of unique characters. John is as faithful and dedicated, a fine Christian man as I've met. We have 3 services on Sunday morning. You are welcome, by the way, at any time, 7:45, 9, and 10:30. We also have a Monday night service at 6:30, and that's where John shows up every week, faithfully serves as an usher. And we are happy to be in his good care and hands as we lead worship and welcome guests at all times. I could go on and on about John, but I'm just glad that he's a member of our church and a friend, and I'm as supportive as can be. I know he has had issues in the past, and he is on the road to grand recovery and has demonstrated his character, I think, in a wonderful way. And I'm very supportive of any action you have in moving him toward promotion. So thank you for your time. God bless your Christmas celebration.
Thank you. Our next public comment is from Rose Steets.
Yes, I'm Rose Steets. I was able to sit in on the Wednesday morning, first half of that day's public hearing, and followed it carefully after that. As I was leaving church this afternoon to come down here, one of our volunteers at the food pantry said, please tell them thank you for what they did. So thank you. I think that and the testimony and some of the other things that have happened speak really how deep our racism is in our institutions, to the point where someone could say, it was a joke, I didn't think it would hurt anybody. When somebody is that unaware of what they're saying and doing, it says volumes about what we need to do to root out the racism that's among us. And we can't keep saying, don't bring up racism all the time. It's there, and we must deal with it. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes our public comment portion. Director Butler, if you
Excuse me,
continue.
ma'am. I was sorry I was late, but I'm addressing Chief Morales' comments.
I apologize. Did you submit a public comment registration form?
I did.
If you can just, I only have,
This regards the shooting of Jerry Smith Jr.
one moment. There might be another one out there. I apologize. No? Okay, well, have a seat, state your name for the record.
My name is Storm.
2 minutes.
Investigator on the Jerry Smith Jr. shooting.
Your name, sir?
Storm.
Your first name? Your full name.
My name is Daniel Storm. Chief, you made a comment in the last hearing that we needed to move on from the shooting with Jerry Smith Jr. and that they needed to see the whole video before they would understand. This is the entire video. And I'm submitting it to the Fire and Police Commission asking why we can terminate an officer for texting or posting things on social media, but we can't even bring up 2 officers that shot an unarmed man with his hands out. This is the whole video. And I don't know why the chief made that comment like I had tampered with that video or cut it to suit my needs. This is the entire video. And what this commission needs to see is 3 minutes before they gunned down Jerry Smith Jr., one officer says to his partner, somebody's going to get shot today. I submit the disc to you. I don't know why the chief thinks that he can make a comment, oh, you've got to see the whole thing, and wouldn't bring it out. I'll bring it out, and the whole world is watching what they did to Jerry Smith Jr., Chief, and watching what you did and what you haven't done since they gunned that man down with his hands out and his fingers spread, and no crime, no record, no drugs. And then almost a year later, your officers arrest a white man with an assault rifle, 3 armed handguns, shooting on a rooftop. And they tackled him. Your guy shot Jerry with nothing in his hands. Don't infer that I chopped a video and put it out for the whole world to see to suit my needs. Now they have the whole video,
Mr.
Chief.
Storm, I need you to direct your comments to the commission.
You have the whole video. These people should not be carrying guns. And he knows about Officer Finkley. They've suspended Officer Finkley already. He's been written up twice. He's been referred 3 times to the district attorney's office for domestic violence. And that's the man who opened fire first. It's on the disc. You will see Officer Finkley's vest cam. He opened fire first. Officer Stahl shot him because Officer Finkley shot him. That's their statements. So you have the entire footage. You don't have just the clip that's going around the world. And I'm asking this commission to hold an investigation and terminate these two officers and get these people off the street. They're menaces. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that all I have? There being no further comments, this concludes the public comment portion of the meeting. We will now proceed with the consent agenda. Ms. Butler?
I'm going to read through the items on the consent agenda. After I do so, any commissioner may remove any one or more items to the regular agenda for discussion or appropriate action. First item on the consent agenda are the regular meeting minutes from December 6, 2018. Second item on the agenda, letter B, is appointment to the position of school crossing guard. 3 individuals, Lydia S. Burton, Danielle Chambers, and Alonzio Q. Walter. Next item on the agenda is information for the commission, correspondence regarding the termination of school crossing guard Paula S. Pop. Following that is correspondence from the fire department regarding organizational changes within the fire department. Following that is a request to approve the System Security Administrator eligibility list. Next item on the consent agenda is a request to approve the Fire Mechanic Helper Job Announcement Bulletin. And finally is a request from the Police Department for Police District Administrative Assistant examination.
I just want to make a comment on item C regarding the termination of school crossing guard. That particular item is an information item only. The individual that is concerns has appeal rights if they disagree with the decision. Item E, I will remove from the consent agenda and address individually, separate action on it. With that in mind, is there any objection to the items on the consent agenda as stated? If there are no objections, these items are adopted.
Okay. So then the next item, just to keep it clean, would be separate consideration of the item 2E, request to approve Systems Security Administrator eligibility list.
This item is going to be held over to our next regular meeting. There are some discrepancies on the list, and we just want to address those.
Under unfinished business, you have item A, request to amend SOP 001 entitled Fair and Impartial Policing, and I believe you've all been given a copy of an updated version of the SOP.
Yes. May I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Are we doing individually or?
Yeah, I was gonna.
Okay.
So it's been moved in second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Next item under unfinished business is item B, request to amend MPD SOP 300 entitled Directed Patrol Missions, Saturation Patrols.
Oh, I think the saturation patrols have been removed.
Right, so the phrase saturation patrols is actually not in the revised or proposed revised version of the SOP.
Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next, under the fire department, first is a request to promote to assistant fire chief. Let me get to my Deputy Chief David C. Vostis.
This item will be held over to our next meeting for interview.
Next item on the agenda under fire department is a request to promote to fire dispatch senior 4 individuals: fire dispatcher Bryce W. Poplinski, Jasmine T. Sally, Zachary M. Gorlick, and Patricia J. Saavedra.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Congratulations.
Under the Police Department, first we have for your consideration, promotion of Lieutenant John P. Corbett to the position of Captain of Police.
Move to approve.
Second.
Is there, I was going to say something, actually.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I do recall when Lieutenant Corbett was up for promotion previously, before he became a lieutenant, and I do think that we have to review, I will reiterate what I stated the last time, that every case is different. We need to look at the facts for each individual and what happened at the time of whatever misconduct previously occurred, what actions they took thereafter, and what their current demeanor is in record. And I do think that in this particular occasion, Lieutenant Corbett has exemplified what we would want to see in a member of the police department when they commit an error. And therefore, I think what we have viewed in the media and elsewhere is not the full story. I think that if folks really want to know, they need to talk to Mr. Corbett himself, and he is very open and honest about everything from beginning to end, and he does not hide away from sharing that information. And so with that being said, may I have a motion?
And you know what?
Go ahead.
And I'm going to add one more thing. Obviously, with someone who has a history that includes being disciplined, arrested, and things that probably have brought upon him judgment, shame, I think it's important to realize that when you move someone like that into a position of authority, where they supervise, manage, and deal with people, one is hopeful that that type of background brings forth empathy, understanding, and very strong leadership skills. Go ahead.
Okay.
It's been moved and seconded already.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Congratulations.
Next item on the agenda under the Police Department is a request to promote without exam Administrative Assistant 3 Susan M. Robleski to the position of Administrative Assistant 4 in the Police Department.
May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Is it a motion for approval? Ms. Commissioner McKenzie?
Yes, I said second.
You said so moved. Your motion is for approval, or?
Yes.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next item on the agenda in the Police Department is, wait a minute.
Administrative Assistant 3?
Okay, promotion of Administrative Assistant 3, that was to promote without a competitive exam. So now is the actual promotion itself of Administrative Assistant 3 Sue Robleski to the position of Administrative Assistant 4 effective Sunday, December 30th, 2018.
Move approval.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next item on your agenda is request to promote Office Assistant 3 Tanya R. Lewis to the position of Administrative Assistant 3 within the Police Department effective January 13th, 2019.
May I have a motion?
So moved. To approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Final item under the Police Department is the appointment of two individuals, Anthony Buffon and Aaron Byrne, to the position of Crime Analyst in the Police Department effective Monday, January 14th, 2019.
May I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
That concludes the regular business on this agenda.
Excuse me, Chair.
Yes, Commissioner
I'd just
Wilson.
like to say, excuse me, and I apologize that I couldn't make it. Since this is the season for loving and giving, everybody tell someone you love them and have a happy holiday.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye. Lovingly.
Motion carries. We are adjourned, and happy holidays to all.
Merry